Hey guys, this is Vlhadus here at Vlhadus Gaming, and we're on 1v1, and I have an awesome special guest with me, Xillin. How's it
We
going,
have a
man?
third person in here? Oh, you were talking about me. Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
So, just to give a little background, so for me, Xillin was one of the content creators when I first started getting super hyped for Ashes of Creation. Him and Tin Man were the people that I got to speak with for the very first time, chat all about Ashes and the systems and the features, and I was just this little boy in a candy store just being overwhelmed with all this awesome knowledge. Like, what the heck is this game doing? But he was definitely, Xillin, you really were like a direct inspiration for why I'm even doing content creation. I mean, I love your content. I love what you've been doing with your channel. I think it's awesome, man. I really do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's I find that a little bit strange because there are obviously other YouTubers, but even more specifically Ashes YouTubers who are much bigger than me and seem like they would be better inspiration. But I mean, I understand that sometimes whatever it's just a certain person piques your interest, and for example, for me, I did a podcast very similar to what you're doing now, where I interviewed other content creators just 1v1, just like you're doing now, and I had to beg, plead, borrow, and steal, but I got Wlhadus FPS to agree to come on the show, and
I love his content.
got to interview him, and he was kind of a inspiration for me getting started. I based a lot of what I did early on how he did it, because I saw, I was like, I think I can replicate that and iterate on it, and so that's what I did, and yeah, it was really cool getting to interview him. So I mean, I could see how getting to interview somebody that inspired you is pretty cool. Pretty cool thing.
Oh, dude, yeah. And just to do a shameless plug, right? You're streaming Friday whenever we are getting our January update from Steven and the team.
Yeah. So I'm doing I'm gonna do a watch party. So I'll be streaming on Twitch during the stream itself. That's twitch.tv/Xillin, and I'll be streaming during the interview, but I don't talk. Like I have an important role that I try to follow in life, which is when people who are more important than me are talking, I shut up. So like we just sit there and watch together. Sometimes we type a little bit, especially if there's a lull in what's going on or whatever, and I'm taking my notes for my recap video and all that. But then as soon as it's over, Wlhadus FPS actually is going to come on to my stream. He and I are going to talk about his reactions, and then I have this wonderful creator Vlhadus is going to come on, and Bardic and Fane and a couple of other Ashes creators are all going to come on back to back, and we're just going to do a content creator train and instant analysis of the live stream update. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for this January. I think some people feel like this January's update's going to be not as great. I think the next couple of months they feel like it's going to be very light on heavy systems and stuff. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about Ashes stuff a little bit later. Not saying we're not going to touch on Ashes, but what I do want to get into is you. Like, I want to get into like who you are, like who Xillin is, and so
that's a box you don't want to open.
Well, I guess we'll open Pandora's box today. Let's just see what happens. But I guess with the MMO genre, there's a lot of people that say that the genre is dying, right? It's not what it once was. And for me, being excited for Ashes, and also for you being excited for Ashes, like, why would you even want to play an MMO in 2022?
I mean, that's a really good question, and it's a question a lot of people are asking themselves, their friends, all of that. Even the big crew of people that I had that were part of my guild in Star Wars: The Old Republic, because I was the leader of a big raiding guild there. We were one of the best raiding guilds on our server, and it was a lot of people who spent the overwhelming majority of their free time in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and now they're like spread out everywhere, and some of them play a couple, an hour of video games every night at the end of the day. Like it's that crew is definitely dying. But I've been saying for a while now, because this idea that the MMO genre is dying has been kind of percolating and going everywhere. I think the MMO genre is morphing. It's turning into something else. The people who I know who were hardcore MMO players of the traditional style, the World of Warcraft style, they're playing Ark and Rust and 7 Days to Die and Atlas and Minecraft and these types of games where it's almost like you need to take the massively off and go with multiplayer online role-playing game. Because we're getting rid of these worlds that have thousands and thousands of players in them. And one of the reasons why the worlds that have thousands and thousands of players in them can be unappealing is because you can't really make an impact. There's thousands and thousands of players, and they actually can't build systems in the game to allow any one player to make that massive of an impact because you've got 10,000 other people on the server, or how many ever, whatever. Whereas with Minecraft, what's there, 100 people on a server? Ark, there's like 1,000 people on the server. Like, it's limited, and so you can have an impact. And so I think that the genre is just moving in that direction towards a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate, where you can your impact in what you do on a daily basis actually matters, as opposed to World of Warcraft, where you kill a boss so that the sword you have has slightly higher numbers on it, so that you can kill a slightly harder boss, so that the sword you have has slightly higher numbers on it, so that you can kill another boss. And the cycle, it's a loop. It just over and over and over again, and there's no real impact to it whatsoever. And that's how I think it's going. The answer for Ashes is, I think that Steven is well aware of these issues, and he actually mentioned in a recent interview that he did with MMORPG.com a word that he used: loop fatigue. The idea that people get tired of these in-game loops, and eventually you move on, or go looking for a game where something you can do in game can actually matter. And I think that he's aware of that, and he has built this game around the idea of loop fatigue. And I'm actually working on a video right now, and the title is going to be something along the lines of Ashes of Creation won't have in-game loops. And while I'm sure it will, the title's a little sensationalized, but everything you're going to do in Ashes of Creation is going to matter. You're not going to log on so that you can go kill a boss so that your sword can get a little higher number next to it so that you can kill the next boss. You might log on to go kill a boss so that your sword can get a higher number next to it, but the reason you're going to be doing that is so that you can defend your damn node when it gets attacked and be a little better off. You know what I mean? It's all going to be based around that, and I think that the node system regionalizes the game. There's going to be distinct regions in the game where you're going to build your community around the people who ran your area. They help people who help to build your node, the people who are help defending your node. And so it's going to it's almost going to take the first M off of the game. Like, it's going to be 10,000 people on the server, but you're really only interacting with the 2,500 people that are in your region on a daily basis. And so then your actions will matter. Your actions will have impact, and your attitude will have impact. The way you treat people will have impact. Everything you do will have impact. Whereas in World of Warcraft, if I go kill the newest boss on the hardest level, I mean, God, 50 people might even know that it happened. I mean, it doesn't matter. If in ESO, if I go take over a castle tonight before I go to bed, it's gonna that castle's gonna change hands 7 times before I wake up, and it doesn't matter if I took the castle or didn't. It doesn't affect the gameplay in any kind of way. So I just think that the genre is evolving. It's becoming more of what it needs to be in order to maintain a player base, basically, because people have gotten tired of not really having impact on the game world.
No, for sure. And for you as a gamer, especially like you're a hardcore Star Wars like raider and stuff like that, like I mean, why did you want to believe in another game? Like, why? Because I know you're a huge like football fan, right? So like, why couldn't you just say, well, maybe like I'm done gaming and I'll just invite my buddies over and we'll watch football and drink beer? Like, why do you even want a game in 2022? Like, what brings you?
Why game?
Yeah.
That's a question.
Is it a good one?
I wasn't ready for that. Well, as far as football is concerned, you got to understand that the football season is 4 months out of the year. So 8 months out of the year, you got to find something to do.
That's true.
And I'm not a big enough fan of any of the other sports to like let that fill the space. I'm a very simple person. I don't need a lot of complicated things in my life. I I'm very much a homebody. I don't go out. You just mentioned drinking beer. I don't drink.
Neither do I.
No, there you go. So like I have noticed in my life that I can be at home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not leave the house, like literally not go outside of my house, and it doesn't bother me at all. And I know a lot of people that bothers them. Like if they're in the house for more than like 20 hours, they're like, oh my God, I got to get out of here, even if it's just to go walk to the park or whatever. And that there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to criticize those people. I'm just not that way. I'm a homebody. I can stay here all day. And so in general, my time that I'm not working is split between spending time with my wife and what I will admittedly very robotically look at as maintaining my relationship. Because I very much am like, I need to get up out of this chair and go maintain my relationship. You know what I mean? It's very it's pragmatic almost. But I spend time with my wife, and I spend time playing video games. I mean, what else am I going to do if I'm in my house? What else am I going to do? I mean, I could work on my house, I guess, but.
So I know a buddy of mine who does woodworking. He has like a whole like woodshed in his garage, and all he does is he builds like end tables, like furniture pieces, and that's what he does. And he used to be a gamer back in the day, but he felt like he was getting too old for it. Like he felt like, and I think everybody gets to their own stopping point, you know. I know for myself, after quitting WoW in July of last year, I was not saying, because of course I did believe in Ashes of Creation. Like I knew of Ashes of Creation since 2020 or 2021 when Asmongold did his thing. But I do feel like there's a lot of people that don't know like what to do with their time. But I feel like especially with us, like I'm sure you played like Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I mean, right? And I feel like
every one of them.
Yeah, so it's like if you've been a gamer for so long, like it's almost like a habit that you don't ever want to stop. It's not a bad habit. I think some people can make it a bad habit, right? But I feel like that's why a lot of people don't want to give up on gaming. But going back to MMOs, so like what started you? Because you said you're a hardcore Star Wars person, right? Playing the Old Republic, which I love the Old Republic. I think the setting, the story is amazing. It's leagues above freaking the movies that we got as far as cinema. Like leagues above what we got for the movies. But what made you come to a stopping point for the Old Republic? Because the Old Republic is still going, right? It's actually getting a new expansion this month.
It is getting a new expansion. You know, there's a lot to that. Part of it is, you know, people from my core group started going on to do other things. A real quick aside, just because it's a funny story. There's this kid that joined our team. Like we used to do 16-man raids, and we would pug off the fleet every day, every night of the week. We would do this, and we would have like 6 to 8 of our guys, and then we would intentionally go get 8 more. And because we were all very competent, we were doing these fights in hard mode and nightmare mode. Doing them in story mode was a joke for us. We could do it with just our 8. We don't need the other 8. So we would put together these extremely competent, very well run, very fast, efficient run-throughs of these raids, and people would drop their guilds in the middle of the raid to join our guild because it was so efficient and all that. And plus we would invite people onto Discord, and we had several like highly entertaining people in our Discord, so that made it more fun as well. Or back then it was TeamSpeak, but anyway.
Oh yeah, or Ventrilo. I use Ventrilo.
Well, we never did Ventrilo. My brother has a TeamSpeak server, so I had a free TeamSpeak server.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out real well, right? So this guy joins, and you know, within I don't know, 6 weeks, he had no idea what he was doing, no clue what he was doing, but he was interested in getting better, and so we sat down and we talked to him about, you know, rotations and gearing and all the things you have to do to get good. And within about 6 weeks, he was the best player in our guild, and he really could play any class. Like it didn't matter. Any class, any role, he'd pick it up, and within like 3 hours, he'd be better than anybody that we had in the guild. He was awesome, and he had this real deep voice, and so we all assumed he was like 22, 23. He'd be like, "Hey, I got to go to school," and we'd be like, "Okay, see you later." And we assumed college or whatever. Well, it turned out this kid was 13 years old.
Dang, puberty hit him hard.
Old. He was mature, had a very very deep voice, and was better than everybody in the whole guild at rating specifically. And now he is getting an aeronautical engineering degree from Purdue University, and like this is how far back this goes. This guy's in university now and has been for a few years. Anyway, so everybody kind of broke off and went off on their own kind of way. But I think that really happened because we were a raiding guild. That's what we did. We tried to clear the newest content on the hardest difficulties and do it faster than anybody else. That was the goal. Raiding was my replacement for flag football. I played flag football all the way up until I was a little over 30, and then I hurt my knee, and I haven't been able to play since then. And I have to have something competitive in my life. I can't be not competing. I don't have that. I don't have that gene.
Yeah. So to be all passive about it.
Yeah. So raiding was my replacement for flag football, and they fired the entire team that makes the raids for SWTOR quit, or they got fired. I still don't know the story. They didn't even tell anybody that it did, and there was like a 2-year gap where no new raids were released, none. And we were just doing the same thing over and over again that we've been doing, and it was awful. And people quit during that time, and then also during that time, they changed the way they give out gear, where as long as you played the game in any way, you would hit the max gear level, max gear score. And it didn't even take long. Like every time you killed a boss, every person in the group got a random smattering of gear that was based on their current gear score. And it would all be a little bit less, even, or a little bit more than your current gear score. So you would just keep equipping whatever was more. It didn't even matter if it was for your class. It didn't matter what the stats weren't done. Wow. You just equip the higher gear score so that your average gear score goes up, so that the next time you kill a boss, it gives you more higher gear score, and you can keep going up. And it could be the easiest story mode boss of the easiest dungeon. And also, every time you completed a PvP arena, a queue, you got gear. Like it made it a joke, and so there was no carrot to chase, essentially. So it's like, what's the point? We're doing raids that we've already done for gear that everybody else can get, and so people quit. I tried to hold it all together. It just wasn't. It just didn't work, and so we kind of all split apart and went over. And I've played. The fun thing is, I have played so many games that I missed out on during that. 8-year stretch that I was playing SWTOR just nonstop. So that's been fun.
Awesome. Well, so like, because there's other, because I know when you say other games, they weren't MMOs, right? They were probably just like single player stories or survival games and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, because there are other games out there than, Star Wars: The Old Republic as far as MMOs. Mm-hmm. There's like, you mentioned World of Warcraft, there's ESO, there's Black Desert Online, there's Final Fantasy 14. So what was it about those other MMOs that why didn't y'all just move your guild from Star Wars to another MMO? Like, why would everybody...
We actually tried that.
Okay.
The last ditch effort was moving to World of Warcraft. Because World of Warcraft is kind of the raiding game. Like, that's from an MMO perspective, that's the one. Or at least at that time, it was the one. I would make an argument that it's Final Fantasy 14 now. But anyways, at that time, that was definitely the one. And we went there, and we all played it, and it just didn't stick. Like, I think I could have stuck with it, but I would say out of the 16 to 20 people that went, 12 or so quit within a month.
So
it just didn't stick.
So if you don't mind me asking, like, because I know you probably can't speak for them, but for you, like, what was it about the WoW experience that didn't seem good, or did it feel like more of the same? Did it feel like you were basically playing a clone of Star Wars, where nothing didn't feel meaningful?
For me, and I, you know, I'm not trying to disparage the WoW folks. I'm not, you know, it's not what I'm trying to do here. It's just this is what it was for me. SWTOR does not allow add-ons, so you don't have something telling you fire's about to appear under your feet, move. You have to actually see the damn fire appear under your feet and move of your own volition. And that made, like, to me, SWTOR raiding is infinitely harder than World of Warcraft, because you have to know the mechanics. You can't just put in a damn add-on and it just tells you what the mechanics are as you're doing the fight. On top of that, the rotations in SWTOR are several times over more difficult than World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft rotations are stupidly simplistic. Like, they're like 5-button rotations. There's nothing to them. And so I didn't get the sense of accomplishment because it was easy. Like I have no doubt whatsoever that I could go to World of Warcraft right now and be a top level 1%er tank in 6 weeks or less. Like, no doubt, because it's so easy. It's so easy compared to SWTOR. So that's what killed it for SWTOR. I mean, for WoW. We tried ESO. Action raiding and action combat MMO sucks in every one of them, every time, no matter what. End of discussion. That's my opinion.
Sorry, ESO players.
Yeah, it's God. I would rather watch paint dry than play ESO and raid. Like, and I wanted to, because I like ESO. Other than that,
like, the world, right? The world of Elder Scrolls.
The world, the combat, like all the different things that they've done. I think they've done a really, really good job of putting enough end-game loops in that if you get tired of one, you can move to another one, and by the time you go through all the different end-game loops and start back at the beginning, you'll be untired of the original one. That's great. It's just that, in my opinion, raiding and action combat MMO sucks, and so I just can't. It's boring, and I just couldn't. Final Fantasy 14 is pretty cool. The story is bonkers. I can't with the story. It's ridiculous. It's a story.
It's a little too anime for you, probably, right?
So stupid. But really, it's the 17.5-minute global cooldown. Every time you push a button for an attack, you have to, like, go to the bathroom and come back, and then you can push the next attack, and then you got to get up and go, like, say hi to your daughter, and then you can come back and push the next attack. I just can't with the ridiculous. Again, it makes it easy. Like, the thing about SWTOR, the combat was fast. Like, it's a 1.5 second starting cooldown, and then there's a stat called alacrity that you can stack, and you can get that down to like 1.1. So you're like, it's go. You're always pushing a button. You're always doing something. In Final Fantasy, it's 2.5 seconds. It's 2.5 seconds. I feel like I could take a nap in between button presses. I'm serious.
No. But so to be fair, you know, I've played Final Fantasy for a couple of years now. I'm not a hardcore expert on the game by any means, but I felt the same way as you did as I was leveling. The 2.5 second global cooldown was very atrocious coming out from a WoW point of view. But the thing is that I stuck with a ninja, and I played a ninja all the way to level 80. Yeah. 2.5 seconds at level 80 is not fast enough. You as a ninja are simultaneously, because the thing is that you have a global cooldown that affects certain abilities, and certain things are completely off of the global cooldown. Right. Yeah, so as a ninja, you have 2 rotations that you simultaneously have to do at the same time, along with also hitting like other cooldowns. So just to defend the game, because again, a lot of people can't get past level 30 in Final Fantasy because they start doing the dungeons, I think, at level 15 or 17, and it's just a slog. It's not good, fun gameplay. But the thing is that the game does show you how to play in Final Fantasy, but most people just want to buy like the skip to level 80, but they don't have any prior knowledge. And at level 80, you have so many buttons, and there's a lot of class quests that actually show you how a new button incorporates into your rotation. So without having to go through that, it could be way overwhelming for people, which again causes them to quit because it's just too much. But no, I totally get what you're saying, and I think they do need to do something about that, because I think it'd be more efficient for them to have like maybe like a 1 second global cooldown as you're leveling, but it starts to increase, the further on you're leveling.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
something like that, just to kind of give you a little bit more of a robust, quick, fun kind of experience as you're, because especially too, it also depends on your class. Some classes are not as fast as the ninja, so I
Right.
can't, but I've only played a ninja. I can't speak on like the dragoon or the samurai or whatever.
Well, my guild, we actually went there and we leveled. We actually did the first raid in that
Yeah.
guild. And so we leveled. I leveled a warrior, whatever the tank class. I think it's called a warrior.
Yep.
All the way up to maximum level. This was back when Heaven's Word was the most recent expansion. I think 60 was the maximum, maybe 65.
Yeah, 60.
And we went all the way through. I did we did the first raid or whatever, but after the first raid, like literally the entire team was like, yeah.
So after you guys quit Final Fantasy, like, was there something in you where you feel like you couldn't trust like AAA Studios anymore? Was there something about like just all of the MMOs to a certain extent that just were just carbon copies, right? Like if Final Fantasy, if WoW didn't do it for you, ESO, like then it's like, where can you go? Right?
I mean, I haven't trusted AAA Studios for a long time. I remember I pre-ordered SimCity. Do you remember when SimCity?
Oh my God, yeah. It was
So
back in the 90s.
I played. Well, no, I'm talking about the recent one. There was one in like 2012, 2011, and it was a massive failure. Like they
God.
it was awful. But so yes, back in the 90s, in the early 90s, I was playing SimCity on a PC. Like that's how far back my PC gaming specifically goes. That was one of my first loves. I loved that game. I played the crap out of it. Like little 12-year-old me, so they're like building cities and stuff. So it might have been younger than that. I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I pre-ordered SimCity when they were re-releasing it, and I mean, I was all super excited about it and all that stuff, and it was just trash and didn't have the features that it said it was going to have, and just all the stuff that's just become commonplace now. And that's when I said I'm never pre-ordering another game ever again for the rest of my life. Like I'm done pre-ordering games. I from now on, I'm going to watch reviews. I'm going to wait for games to come out before I play them, all that stuff. And for the most part, I have stuck to that. I did pre-order. I know that was after Star Wars: Old Republic. God, man, I think the only thing that I've pre-ordered was Ashes of Creation, and I mean, there's no way I would have done it if I wasn't attempting to be a content creator for the game. But because I am, I mean, you got to, right? You got to get in there. And it just happened to be that with my wife and I selling our house and buying another house and the proceeds and all that stuff, it wasn't a big deal. And I had a couple of friends, real life friends, who pitched in a little money, and we all put it all together, and I got it. But so yes, I don't trust AAA Studios, but that's not really accurate. What I don't trust is publishers. That's what it really is. The publishers are forcing these studios to release games before they're ready. And it's obvious. It couldn't be more obvious. And that's one of the reasons why I stand fully behind Ashes of Creation, because there is no publisher. Steven is going to release this game when it's ready and when it's good.
So are you talking publishers or like corporate, like the corporateness of... Because I always feel like it's like the stockholders, the corporate executives basically saying, well, we said we were going to give them until June. And then June comes around. They're like, okay, are you going to release the game? And they're like, actually, we run into a couple of problems. We actually need maybe a whole other year. And they're like, we'll give you 3 months.
Right.
And it's like, wait, we can't. Literally, we cannot do it in 3 months. And they're like, we'll give you 3 months.
We'll give
release
you 3
it.
months. Right.
Yeah,
that's the publishers that are doing that. Like EA. EA is not a game development studio. They are a publisher. They distribute the game for you. So you come to them and you say, hey, I want to build a video game and here's my idea. And they say, okay, great. Here's $50 million. You have 3 years. get after it, and at the end of the 3 years, we will distribute the game for you, and we'll split the, you'll pay back the $100 million that we gave you, and then we'll split the proceeds at this percentage or whatever. That's a very rough explanation of how it works. And Activision is a publisher. There's a bunch of these companies that are publishers, and it doesn't matter which one of them. They're all corporations, like you just said, and they have people that are the shareholders, the people at the top, the CEO and the board members. That's what I'm trying to think of. They're not gamers. They're not. They're money people. They're bean counters. All of that stuff. They're not gamers, and they don't understand what releasing a game early can do. I think they're starting to get it. But for a long, long time, they didn't get it. And we would get these games. ESO released a year too early. Star Wars: The Old Republic released probably 2 years too early.
Too early. I agree.
These games were released too early. They were not ready yet. And the developers, who in general I think are very good people and are doing the best that they can and want to put out a product that they can stand behind and be like, this is a good product and we love it, they're not being allowed to do that because the publishers are the money people. They're the ones who give the studios the money to make the games. And so when they say it has to be released, it has to be, when they're ready to get their return on investment. Okay, we'll do it now. And then a lot of them, I think they know that they can release the game. It'll get huge sales, lots of subscribers. You make back all your money really fast. And then in a year, you can go free to play, microtransactions, do what you promised you wouldn't do, and make a boatload of money on microtransactions until the game dies, which has become like the life cycle of MMOs. Yeah. That's how they work.
Basically.
And so, yes, I was pretty much out of the MMO space. I don't know that I'll ever be able to just be like, I'm never playing another MMO ever again. But I was pretty much out. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, I saw the Kickstarter trailer for Ashes of Creation, like live, like when they launched it, I was right there watching it, and this was my reaction. Okay, yeah, sure, sure, you're gonna do all that.
Oh, he didn't mean it, Steven. He didn't mean it.
No, that was my reaction. But I had, I kept it over here. I just watched it every once in a while. Okay. Oh, they actually have that feature. Okay. And just slowly over time. And then COVID hit and I was bored and looking for something to do. And I thought, I'll go research Ashes. I haven't done that in, 6 months or whatever. And I started just watching videos from different content creators talking about all the systems that were in place and the things that were going on, and then looking through the wiki, and I was like, oh shit, they're going to do this. And then that's when I got on the train. So
I know for me, it didn't take much. And I'm wondering, was it because you felt so jaded that even coming from a person that wasn't a part of any corporation, just a passionate MMO gamer that was a multimillionaire, even that didn't sway you, where you still needed to see more and more from them, because it almost feels like you didn't want to feel that sense of betrayal, not even from the company, but more so from you hyping yourself up and then being disappointed.
Yeah, because Steven's not the first person to do this. There have been other MMOs that have been, let's say, announced, kickstarted, crowdfunded, by people who basically were in the industry, have become jaded by the industry themselves and said, I'm going to do this on my own. What's that game called?
Crowfall?
Shroud of the Avatar. Shroud of the Avatar is
never heard of it.
Being made. It's basically a follow-up to Ultima Online. It's made by some of the original people from Ultima Online. And
wow.
It was crowdfunded. There was no publisher. It was, it was all on its own or whatever. And it's trash, man. It is awful. It is awful.
What?
And yeah, and there's games that are in that realm. There's one, Camelot Unchained, by the guy who did Dark Age of Camelot, which is one of my all-time favorite MMOs. Trash. It's actually not actually out. You can't play it. It's still like God, 2014, I think is when they announced this game, and we're still like don't even have like there haven't even been an alpha test. There's not even a playable version of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was not ready to accept Stephen and his company into my heart yet. But just over time, I started going, no, this is real. This is real. You start seeing gameplay footage and stuff, and yeah, here we are.
So what was that pivotal moment for you? Like, what was that, almost that light switch that says, I'm a believer now? Was it just like you watching like maybe like the PAX East or West, or was it like, what was that moment?
You know what? It wasn't really a specific moment. It was like a 2-week period, and it's what I was describing earlier. It was in the middle of COVID. We were all at home, like I'm talking 2020. Like, way back. We were all at home. We were doing the 2 weeks to cover the spread or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. You know, I had played some games. I had some stuff that was keeping me entertained, but not really. And I was just looking, and I like I said, I've kept Ashes on the back burner for a long time. I've been like, okay, I know this is out here. There was 2 games I was interested in: Chronicles of Illyria and Ashes of Creation.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I was actually more interested in Chronicles of Illyria than I was in Ashes of Creation.
So was a lot of people.
Yeah. But I started to notice. I was like, wait a second. Something's not right here. And so I had kind of pushed Chronicles of Illyria off. And so I started doing some research into Ashes of Creation. And I wasn't watching like the PAXs and the previous live stream updates and stuff. I was seriously watching the other content creators. Alpha Soul, I'll give a shout out to Alpha Soul. Alpha Soul is my personal favorite Ashes of Creation content creator, even though he's not making any content right now. I really, really enjoyed the way that he gave out the information or whatever. But I just started watching, and I was watching the systems, and then those people were using the videos from the live stream, so I could see this is a game. This is the people running around in the engine. You can see. Yeah. This is a game, and it's a playable game, and here's this feature list, and this feature list hasn't changed over time. It's been pretty much the same feature list. Mm-hmm. And then as I started listening, like how my initial reaction to the nodes when I first heard about the nodes, like back in the Kickstarter, was whatever. It didn't move the needle for me. Wow. But then as I started researching the nodes and how they worked and what they were going to do and all that, I started going, wait a second, this is different. And it started to kind of percolate in my mind that this game is like going all the way back to the very start of this podcast. This game is going to allow the individual player to have impact in a way that no other traditional style MMO ever has. And I was like, I'm in. And then I started doing research, and I was like, I was fully in. Like, oh yeah, this is something I want to do. And then the what's his face, Lazy Peon video came out. Yeah. And it was this huge smash success. And then I went, oh, it's not just me that's in. Yeah. It's MMO gamers across everywhere. Oh yeah. And I hadn't expressed it out loud yet, but I had been trying to like find a game to cover. I wanted to be a content creator, but no game had like hit me that passion yet. Yeah. And I was like, this is the one. And so that's when I started, because when that happened, I knew nothing about Photoshop, video editing, OBS, nothing. I had to spend months just watching tutorials and just to get to the point where I could put together like mediocre videos. You too? There you go. Yeah, it's a fun process though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's fun in its own regard. I'm not the biggest fan of editing myself, but no, that's really cool. I mean, and I've told you this when I first met you. The reason why I got on the Ashes hype train was watching Asmongold's stream. He was reacting to the Lazy Peon video, and then Steven send him a private message on Twitter to say like, hey, if you want to talk Ashes, I'm going to be driving right now, but I can talk to you while I'm driving. And Asmon was like, well, I'll contact you in a little bit. We're still watching like the Lazy Peon video. And then it went from watching the amazing 2020 Lazy Peon video of Ashes to then having Asmongold interview Steven. that to me, that whole experience that day, I feel like my third eye opened. Like I knew nothing of MMOs until today. Like it was just,
Yes,
and it was really that passion. And to hear Steven like talk so naturally and cuss every once in a while and just talk like one of the boys, you know, it didn't feel like a corporate suit. It didn't feel like all of the other developers that I've heard for so many years. It felt so natural and passionate, and especially when I heard that he was fronting his own money into this project, I'm like, well, damn. Like, I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was a multimillionaire. I love the MMO genre, and I think it should succeed. And I think what Steven is doing is something that, I mean, I think besides the scams, right? I think he really is doing something that's really, you know, never been done to its completion. And I feel like, especially with this upcoming, you know, Unreal Engine 5 announcement that, you know, me and you were talking about earlier, it's just like, oh my God, this game is just, it's snowballing into this huge cascading effect.
It's gonna be like, I'm at the point now where I no longer have any doubt whatsoever. This game is going to be a smash success. I hate the term WoW killer because I don't think there's such thing as a WoW killer.
No, WoW's gonna commit suicide.
The WoW killer is WoW.
Yeah, exactly. WoW will kill WoW. That's what happened.
That's pretty good. I like that. No, but I think it's more accurate or better to look at it like this is going to be the new WoW. Not that WoW's gonna die, but the new WoW.
Yes.
The new MMO that everybody's playing is going to be Ashes of Creation. It's going to be a huge, huge smash success, and I'm here for it, man. Like, even if I wasn't a content creator, I'd be excited about it. But as a content creator and one who's built a little bit of a community inside of the Ashes community and getting to do that, and I really you know, you talked about I was the first creator that you were able to actually like have a one-on-one talk with or whatever. I do that on purpose. I hang out in my Discord channel, and if you're a fan of the game or of mine or of Vlhadus or Tin Man or Fane or Bardic or whatever, and you want to come jump in my Discord and have a one-on-one conversation just like you and I are having right now, I do that. Now, yeah, I at some point my channel could get big enough that wouldn't be you know, a feasible thing to do. But right now,
so do it now.
I'm doing it now. That's exactly right. I'm doing it now while I can. I want to be accessible. I want to talk about Ashes with people, and be a member of the community. I love that I can, you know, when the live stream starts on Friday, I can jump in on the chat and just be like, "What up, boys?" or, you know, whatever, say something, say hi or whatever, and 26 people will be like, "Xillin," you know, and it's like. That's really cool that we've built this little community, and it feels very insulated, and it's kind of cool because I know that, you know, how many people usually watch the live stream, like 4,000, 4,500. First off, that's going to grow. That as we go, that's going to get bigger. But like, it's pretty cool that it's like we're one of the first 4,000 of what's going to be 400,000 or 4 million, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. But we're like this little group of people that kind of started it, and I think that's pretty cool.
No, that's gonna be awesome. And, you know, to kind of touch on a little bit, because I do agree with you. I think Ashes of Creation is going to be a smash success, and I think everybody determines smash success differently because, you know, we look at New World, right? And I remember the headlines when New World, the day one release, almost 1 million concurrent players playing. That was considered a smash success, you know. And so, right now, if you were to go to the Ashes of Creation wiki, there's over almost 4 million registered people on Ashes of Creation's website. That means you literally went out of your way to create that account. You know what I mean? That's insane to me.
Yeah.
So
we haven't spent a dime on marketing yet.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all,
that's the crazy part.
Yeah, it's all just word of mouth, YouTube videos of big content creators. So in your opinion, what is something that could happen that hopefully won't replicate like a New World scenario? Because again, it was a smash success, but New World also had a lot of problems. So
hey, dude, don't knock New World. All 14 people that are still playing that game love it. They love that game. Don't bash.
That's true. No, you're right. I should probably not say anything.
Those 14 people are hardcore New World fans. No.
Hopefully they're all on the same server. Hopefully.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, otherwise the game wouldn't be very much fun. Oh wait, it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Jeez.
Man, boy, I just went hard on New World. Whatever. My biggest fear for Ashes of Creation, the thing that I think will take what could be a smash success and what most likely will be a smash success and turn it into just another MMO that's out there, is if they don't, and this is key. Like they need to really consider this. This needs to be very, very upfront. They need to figure this out before the launch of this game. Is if they don't figure out a way to make the average player, the casual player, the player who is not watching us talk right now, they're not watching the live streams, they hear Ashes of Creation as a huge MMO that just came out and they're like, screw it, I'll go play it, or their guild goes and plays it or whatever. They have got to make that player understand the node system, how important it is, and how to interact with it and do things with it. Because without the node system, which Steven has repeatedly talked about as like the central pillar of the game, it is everything, and all the other systems are interwoven with the node system.
Yep.
Without the node system, this game is Black Desert Online. It's just a PvP MMO. Like
or potentially, yeah.
There's just nothing to it without that node system. The node system is what is going to do, like what I was talking about earlier, where it's getting rid of the in-game loops and it makes everything that you do matter and all that stuff. But if that system is something that only the upper crust, the elite, the 1% actually interact with and do anything with and care about, the game's not gonna. It's gonna be fun, but it's not gonna be a huge success. They've got to get every player to understand, oh, my node needs 200 more wood to level up, and if I do that, then we're gonna get stone walls and a catapult around the node. What, I don't know what it is, but whatever. So I need to go out there and get that 200 wood, and don't count on somebody else to do it, and build that sense of community and that sense of actually making an impact on what's going on in the world. Whereas if the average player just logs in and they're like, I'm going to go over there and kill that thing and get to level 12 today, and my node. What do you mean node? What are you talking about? No, I don't even know the name of the node that I'm in. What level is it? Does it matter? Like they have no clue what the node does?
Yeah.
Then it's Black Desert Online. It's nothing. It's matter of fact, it's likely to be Black Desert Online with worse combat.
My God! Don't say that, dude. I hope not.
So that would be my thing. My biggest thing would be if they don't figure out a way to make the node accessible to everyone and something that everyone interacts with and something that everyone understands is crucial to their day-to-day gameplay. But if they do that, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, there's a lot of things that really depend on the node system. And I think with Alpha 2, in my opinion, looming very closely, I know there's several content creators that believe that Alpha 2 is not even going to happen this year. In my opinion, I think we've talked about it ourselves. I firmly believe that even before the Unreal announcement that we were going to get Alpha 2 probably in March, April. But with Unreal Engine 5 now being ported, I don't think that's going to take them that long. People are thinking this is going to take them like half a year to do, which I honestly don't think so. I think 3 months, maybe at the most, for the conversion. And if they are done by the end of March, and then you have maybe a month and a half, and then they announce like Alpha 2 in the summer, which I think Alpha 2 in the summer of 2021 did wonders for them. I mean, summertime, everyone's off of, work, school, whatever the case is. It's just that prime time. And again, there's nothing coming out. There's all the expansions and for other MMOs are all coming out first, second quarter this year. Nothing really is set to release, at least MMO wise, in the summer. So, I think Ashes of Creation does have, a lot of trepidation from a lot of people because Alpha 2 is not out. I think there's, have you been hearing that kind of rumblings that there's just a lot of uncertainty about certain systems, the combat angle? And I think the reason why is because we're not testing it. we don't know. You know,
Right.
all we can do is speculate. And do you think, because we've been speculating, a lot of content creators have been speculating for so long, do you think that's become a little dangerous?
I mean, I don't think that it's dangerous to speculate. Like you're just covering the game in the way that you can cover the game. You know, there are a lot of us who we want to be content creators for this game. That's what our objective is. And so right now there's, you know, I mean, the reality is right now you can either do a recap of the live stream update every month, and that be you release one monthly video.
Yeah.
Or you can be a guy who either bashes the game for views or hypes up the game for views, speculates on stuff. That's it. That's your options.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could do you and I have had this discussion. You could do the go from the education angle, explaining all of the different systems and features of the game and stuff like that. And that is another way you could go about it. But I just don't know that you're going to get very many views. The people who are watching Ash's content right now have already know how the systems work. That's why they're watching Ash's content right now. So I don't know that would work. But so yeah, I don't think it's dangerous to speculate. We're just guessing. We're just trying to see.
No, for sure. And I think a lot of people on Discord, the reason why I say it's dangerous is because since there is so much speculation, people don't know, that leaves this kind of uncertainty in the air for people that are casually watching, or maybe feeling a little more anxious, a bit more, you know, negative, because there's been, you know, not feasible progression, you know what I mean? Even though there has been probably tons of progression behind the scenes. And this is kind of like the double-edged sword that Steven always talks about, right? Is, you know, Steven always talks about, you know, the transparency, not only towards, you know, us and seeing all the monthly development, but also other corporations seeing the monthly stuff. And we experienced a pretty big loss in the Intrepid team with Bacon leaving, you know, and I'm pretty sure Amazon were seeing these monthly development updates from Intrepid and looking at all the awesome environmental stuff that Bacon was doing, and was like, we need you so badly for New World, because we have a lot of copy and paste stuff, and I think you would be awesome to be in the team. And again, this is, I think we did talk about this a little bit. I don't think Bacon and Steven left on any kind of bad terms. I think it's just money. I mean, golly, living in California, I mean, you know, me and you live in Texas, you know, but right. California is on a whole other league of salary and just the basic necessities of living. Sure. And I think because Steven is very budget minded, he knows what he can spend for his team, that you have a multi-billion-dollar company like Amazon calling up Bacon and saying, I'll pay you 30%, 40% with incentives in this if you come and help out our team. And I don't think it was anything malicious. I just think, again, it's just, man, that's a lot of money, man, especially... Go ahead.
Did you read the thing that Bacon put out?
No, I didn't. What did he put out?
Yeah, he put out a full... It's on my Discord server. You can jump on there and see it if you want to.
Okay.
And he explained, and he left the door cracked open about this much for there being some internal strife. He specifically says, now there were some internal things that I won't get into, that I don't need to get into here. So it's like, ooh, there was, but no. Amazon Game Studios, yes, they paid him. He said specifically, he's like, yes, the money is a part of it. It seems like he was commuting 2+ hours to work.
Oh, wow.
And Amazon Game Studios is going to let him work from home. And he said, like, that's the thing.
Oh, wow.
He's going to get to stay home. And you know, he lost his mother last year during Alpha 1 or before Alpha 1. He basically had to do all of Alpha 1 and everything that was involved in how difficult that was and stuff while dealing with the loss of his mother. And, you know, there's some other things that are in there. I don't think it was like internal strife or like...
No. And I think, but you always have that a little bit, right? There's always gonna be like, I love this, and then Steven's like, well, I kind of don't. Like, it doesn't fit with what I think. And you always have that, but I think at the end of the day, you know, again, like, that's huge. Like, 2-hour commute. Oh my God. My wife barely commutes. Yeah, my wife commutes like maybe 45 minutes sometimes. It's not the longest maybe she'll commute to like one of her clinics and stuff. And she complains about that. I can't imagine 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't like, man, like I work from home now, but I used to live in the same town where my business was or is, and I mean it was a 15-minute commute, and I was like, God dang it, I hate this. I wish I lived across the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait till we can just teleport to work. That needs to.
Oh, dude, yeah, Star Trek, get on it.
Yeah, just get that technology rolling already. One of my favorite Dane Cook comedy specials, he talks about teleporting, and he's like, once we have teleporting, everything will be really fast, but the DMV is still gonna take like 9 fucking seconds.
No, it's true.
Be like, I gotta be at work in 3 seconds.
It's like Jesus. But I mean, it's just one of those things where I saw that Bacon leaving was like, again, I really do feel personally that, and I've talked to you about this already a little bit, is that there's been I'll just say I feel that Bacon was done. Not done as far as like Intrepid, I mean done as far as like his projects, like what he needed to do for the world of Vera. I feel like all of the asset creation was done from his point. And I think he's like, I have a great team, because he's had his team for so long and there's other people under him. And I'm sure that he probably created all of the major integral structures that Intrepid needed from him and said now, because I think Steven did say something about the biomes aren't finished, but that doesn't mean that assets weren't finished. That's a whole different thing, because his team can just get those assets that Bacon already created and put them in the biomes. Like that's just what needs to happen. Right. But I do feel like Bacon leaving did hurt the morale, a bit,
of the community.
Yes, of the. Well, I also
not the studio.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, I think the community was a big morale hit. But I'm not saying, too, that they were just like, all right, bye, Bacon, and felt nothing,
No, absolutely not. But, this is one of those things that I've always found very, very strange. It's more of a life thing than a gaming thing. But when people put emotions on other people that they themselves wouldn't have. So, for example, at your company, wherever you work, if one of the people that's loved within your company gets an awesome offer where they're going to be commuting less and getting paid more and have less responsibilities, are you devastated or are you happy for that guy?
Oh, you're going to be super happy for them.
Everybody in the deal is going to be super happy for him. And so why we say, well, I would be happy for that guy, but everybody else there is going to be, they're going to take a morale hit. I've always found that to be very strange. But I think that everybody went, Bacon, you've been awesome. You've been incredible. We've loved having you here. We're so happy that you are going to get to work on your mental health and be at home with your wife. And it might have been his wife that he was dealing with cancer instead of his mom. I can't remember. I would have to go back and reread that thing. But, be there with your family and get paid more and have less responsibility. That's the thing. He's just going to be there's no managerial responsibilities in this new job that he got. He's going to be an artist only.
Yeah, he's just a senior. He's not a lead.
Yes. So he's getting paid more. He's not having to commute. He gets to work from home and he has less responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled for the guy. And I would think that everybody there would be thrilled for him. So in my opinion, it doesn't hurt the community at the studio, or not the community, the morale at the studio at all. And not only that, but it's just human nature. That somebody has to take that job. So now all the people underneath him have an opportunity to move up within the company or whatever, and then the people beneath those people have an opportunity to move up. So there, it creates opportunity. Whatever when the door closes, the window opens, or whatever. However you want to say that. I think it's fine, honestly.
Yeah, and I do think Intrepid does have a tough hill to follow, because the thing is that the whole gaming industry is hurting for developers, right? And so you have Intrepid Studios that has I would definitely say a limited budget. It's not like they have infinite money to burn. So a limited budget, but then you have other studios like Riot, you have Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, EA, like all these other gaming, Amazon, so Intrepid is fighting a very tough battle, because it's like, well, we can pay you $75,000 for your position, and then you have Amazon's like, we'll pay you 90. and it's the same position, it's like, even though it's Amazon, right? Like, but again, I think other people, and I think why it's going to kind of equal off a little bit too, is because, morale. I quit jobs because it doesn't matter how much money they were going to pay me. I could not stand the environment there. Couldn't stand my bosses, all that stuff. So I feel like, I hope that Bacon goes to Amazon. I hope he, well, either way, right? He only has to answer to emails, right? Since he's going to be working from home. But still, it's just one of those things where I hope everything's cool with him. But to a lot of other people, working at Intrepid, they're gonna have to get those people that are just like fresh out of college, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be those senior people that have been in the industry for like 15, 20 years, teaching those people and how they're creating ashes. So do you feel like Intrepid Studios has a pretty tough hill to climb with trying to even nab developers? Because you always see them trying to advertise for like we're hiring,
Well, I mean, I don't think that it's so much budgetary. I think it's location. Like, they are in a place where people are moving away from, not towards. That is a trend. I think they said recently U-Haul, you couldn't get a U-Haul in California because the way U-Haul works is people are moving in both directions, and so there's always a U-Haul there, but people are moving out of California so rapidly that there are no U-Hauls going back there in order
to drop
them
them off.
Just to drop them off, yes. And so people are moving out of California, not to California. People don't want to deal with a lot of the stuff that's going on in California for various reasons. And so you're saying, hey, I need you to come work. And by the way, you have to pick up your whole life and move to California and move here. And that's, and then if you talk about the pay and the price of living in California, which you already talked about, and it's like, hey, by the way, I know you're an artist in Missouri and your house is $200,000 and you're getting paid $60,000 a year. We'll pay you $75,000 if you'll move here. By the way, your house is going to be $800,000.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I think that's crazy. Where their issue is. More than anything else, is just their studio is in a place where your talent pretty much has to come from that area or be dying to work for Intrepid Studios. Now, I think you could make a solid argument that taking the hit now to go work for Intrepid Studios now would pay off huge in the end, because when this game becomes a smash success, they're going to make all the money and everything's going to be going well, and they'll be able to pay everybody all the money. And Steven has already said, which I am flabbergasted that no one is talking about, the fact that Steven straight up said in that interview with MMORPG.com that he's going to keep his development staff on to make other games in the Ashes of Creation IP, but in other genres. And nobody's talking about that. He said that out loud in front of everybody to see.
I did not hear him. When he said that in the newest RPG?
Yes.
What?
Yes. He's talking about how they hire and fire and hire and fire whenever the project ends. And he wants to hire and then keep everybody on, and they'll be working on new games in the Ashes of Creation IP, but different genres. And then my mind starts going, 4X would go great with Ashes of Creation, RTS would go great, obviously like a single player RPG would go great. You could even do a first person shooter with like magic instead of guns, and I'm like, oh my god. And so anyway,
that would be nuts. Jesus.
Yeah. So my point being that may be a gamble that somebody could take and be like, I believe in this company, I believe in this game, to the point that I'm going to take that financial hit to move there. And it pay off big time on the other end. But just in general, I think they have a location problem with getting people to move to California for those jobs, when it's like, I mean, I just can't even imagine trying to move from Missouri or Kansas or Mississippi or Texas or anywhere where houses are normal priced to there, and it's like, how would I even?
Yeah.
You'd have to triple my salary to move to California, And
no, for sure.
This is weird.
It's one of those things that Intrepid, like I said, I feel like they have a really tough hill to climb with that, especially with all the competition. But going back to Ashes a little bit. So besides the node system, the other system that people, I did a recent, what happens if this feature fails. So I did the combat and the node system. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the combat, because we talked a little about the nodes. That's been the three questions that everyone's always been asking, like before the Unreal 5 was, when is Unreal 5? Is that ever going to be a thing for Ashes? When's Alpha 2? And what's going on with the combat? That's been the questions from the community.
Yep. And when do we get the character creator?
Oh yeah, and the character creators. So
that's a good one.
So with combat, like, you come from a tab game like myself, right? With Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like, do you feel like because Steven is really on about this hybrid system. Do you feel like that is going to still be a thing, even in Alpha 2, or do you think they're going to have to pick a direction to really lean in? I know this could probably make some people mad, but it's the whole point of this conversation, right? To get down to it.
I think it's going to be a hybrid, because even since Alpha 1, since they've been having the meetings and the discussions and figuring out what they're going to do, they have been saying, Steven has been saying that they are committed to a hybrid combat system. He straight up said that we are committed to a hybrid system, even after they had the meetings regarding the combat after Alpha 1. So it's going to be some type of hybrid.
So do you think it's going to be like a Guild Wars 2 scenario, where, because I haven't really played Guild Wars 2, so I can't really speak as to how that combat activates or works, but I do know that Guild Wars 2 does not have a Trinity system. And by making your game a Trinity-based system, it does, with healing, like, how is that going to work, right? With, like, having the option to be tab, but also healing in an action way too. Like, I don't know, there just seems to be like issues there for me. But again, it's that uncertainty. We don't know how certain abilities are going to work. We don't know if this ability, that when you push it, it's, even if you're on the tab side, it's going to be an action ability, like, regardless. Or, or there could be abilities that are just tab based. Like, even if you're in the action side, you push this is going to activate the tab motion or whatever. But how do you feel would be a good balance, and what do you think the community really wants?
Well, I've done polling on my channel, and it was 49-51 for action. So, like, the community is split right down the middle. Half the people prefer action, half the people prefer tab. So from that perspective, I don't think that you can satisfy everyone. And one of my biggest concerns about Ashes has been that they are attempting to satisfy everyone. Like, they're trying to blend sandbox and theme park game, and like, Steven has come up with this new term, sand park, and they're trying to blend action and tab. Like, it seems like everything is like, they're like, oh, let's just have just enough on both sides so that both sides will be happy, but neither side's thrilled.
Yeah.
We're
just gonna make a baby. It's gonna be this new baby. Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit concerned about that, because you can't. What's the saying? You can make all the people happy some of the time, or you can make some of the people happy all the time, but you can't make all the people happy all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to pick, right? But my preference would be, I think I've heard you call it tab enhanced, which is basically what you just described there. Like, it's tab targeting. You press tab, that gives you the person you're shooting at. If you shoot a bolt at them, it's going to go to them. You don't have to like put the reticle on them and click the head, as they say. And you don't have to do any of that stuff for a lot of reasons, networking reasons, like lag and stuff like that. Also, when you get into that level, you raise the skill cap. See, and I'm not talking about to be elite. I'm talking about just to be mediocre.
Yeah.
The skill cap is pretty high, and as you age, the reflexes slow down, etc. So you start pushing out the older people who, let's just be honest, that's really the fans of this style of MMO, is an older crowd.
Yeah.
So it's like you're pushing those people out. So like there's a lot of reasons why I think that action combat doesn't really work with this style of game. However, like SWTOR had what you would call tab enhanced. Like, you tabbed, if you press the one key, which for most, unless you changed it, the one key was your basic attack.
Yeah.
It didn't cost any resources. You could just spam it all day long. It didn't do very much damage. It did nothing basically. It just did a little basic damage. And if you were shooting a gun and the guy you were shooting like ducked around a corner, the bullets would follow him around the corner.
Oh dang.
It's a tab game. That's what it is. However, there were attacks, skills, abilities that you could use that, like for example, the mortar volley, which was the commando would take that big cannon and just shoot a bunch of mortars, boom, 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 and it would, as soon as you push that button, your cursor, which was free to move around the deal, would all of a sudden become a big green thing on the ground, and you could move it around on the screen wherever you wanted, and then you had to click where you wanted that cursor to go. So that wasn't tab. You had to hit what you were aiming at.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of abilities that were like conal abilities, that it only hit what was in a cone in front of you, and if you turned that cone, then you wouldn't hit what was over on the other side or whatever. And so like having abilities that work in action mode, but the game be tab, to me just makes a lot of sense. Like if you're going to hybrid it, that's the best way to do it. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and that could still be considered a hybrid system, right?
It is a hybrid system. It does have elements of action. The biggest thing is whenever you're just doing a normal, everyday, regular attack, you don't have to aim at the person. It's you're gonna hit them because you're, there's times when the enemy is off this direction, and I'm facing this direction, and you can literally see the bullets coming out of the gun and taking a right-hand turn.
Because
your character's aiming the other way or whatever. And there's funny stuff like that happens with tab. Like I'm not going to defend tab to that level. Yes, it's funky in some ways, but there are reasons for it. The reasons for it exist, and that's my big thing. So the biggest problem that I personally have with what Ashes of Creation specifically is doing in their hybridization of this, and you didn't play in Alpha 1, correct?
No, I did not.
Okay, so it comes down to basic attacking. So in World of Warcraft, your character is always basic attacking.
Auto attack.
Auto attack. You don't press a button. If you just stand next to a person in combat mode every 2 seconds or however long it is, and I don't know, you'll see your character swing and do a little bit of damage. I believe in WoW y'all call that white damage, right?
Yeah.
Because the numbers are white. So in Star Wars: The Old Republic, your basic attack is a button that you choose to press. So you have all these other attacks, and they all cost energy and various amounts of whatever your class resource is, but your basic attack is free. But you have to push a button to do it. And it's the same animation every time, and you can just spam it if you want to, but obviously that's terrible damage if you do that. Okay, with Ashes of Creation, it's like a combo system. So you have to push the basic attack button over and over and over again to go through like this whole left, right, up, swing, down, spin, and flat, that whole thing.
Okay. And
it feels weird. It feels like it doesn't go, especially whenever you talk about trying to mix it in with a rotation. So then you start saying that, okay, maybe it's not going to have rotations as we think of in tab MMOs, and that's a big part of where they're getting away from it. And I think of ESO when I think of that, where there's not like you have a rotation, but it's weird, and that's a whole other thing. So maybe you won't have a rotation, and your abilities that you have are going to be more about putting effects on your enemy, negative effects on your enemy, or positive effects on yourself, or healing, or whatever. But your main damage is just going to be from your attack, your basic attack. I don't know. The whole thing with the combo on your basic attack was very weird to me, and that was the one part of the combat that I couldn't find a comfort zone in.
Well, and the other problem. And the other problem too is the fact that, again, alpha, but the thing is that the abilities that they let y'all play with were only like the abilities from like level 1 through 15, right, or something like that. So it wasn't like you were playing with all of the abilities that could be potentially at your disposal, at level 50, right? So I think that's one of the things why it's so hard to really grasp the combat, because it's like it's like if you were to play WoW from level 1 through level 20, right? And you only get like certain abilities. Like you don't have a rotation at level 1 to level 20, really.
Right,
You're pressing one button or maybe 2 or 3 like over and over with like a cooldown maybe. If you're lucky. So I think that's why a lot of the people feel super trepidatious when it comes to the combat, because it's super not fleshed out. Like, it's several abilities that they're testing to see how they're going to flow with the overall like combat flow. Because to me, I feel like if Intrepid doesn't go with the rotational base system for endgame, I don't know if I can do that like and be really engaged with like a sort of like a New World system for combat, because New World system is boring. Like it's not fun, at least to me. Like I look at it super boring, and I don't want that for Ashes and Endgame. Like I want there to be like an actual like easy to learn, hard to master, and that's sort of the WoW approach. I think that's any like Final Fantasy's approach too. You always want to make it super easy to understand, but there's very much nuances to how this rotation goes with your cooldowns, with certain abilities, even with certain classes or buffs. And I like that, especially coming from a raid perspective. So how do you feel?
So what I've had to do, this is brilliant. I love that you're going down this route with the conversation, because I've talked a lot about this, more with my friends than necessarily with the content creation. But I've had to separate raiding Xillin from once an impactful MMO Xillin, and like put raiding Xillin in the closet and tell him to shut up. I'm being serious. Like, I do not think, based on it, all the information that we currently have. Now this could change, or I could just be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. This is my guess. I do not think this game is going to have rating even remotely close to what we think of as raiders, as World of Warcraft, the World of Warcraft model of raiding. Like traditional raiding. I wouldn't call it traditional raiding, because I was raiding before World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft changed it. Okay. So in World of Warcraft, you go into an instance, and that instance has a set number of players that are allowed in it, whether it be 12 or 16 or 20 or 25 or 40 or whatever the number is. And that's the maximum number of people who can be in there, right? You can't bring 29 people to a 12-person raid. You have to bring 12. Where with Ashes of Creation, almost all the raids and dungeons, bosses, etc. are in the overworld. You can bring 50 people if you want. You can bring 150 people if you got them, right? So that, and then in World of Warcraft, the bosses have a specific, very tight, scripted thing that they do. And the whole thing is learning how to circumvent what the boss is doing to prevent whatever mechanics that he's putting on you, while keeping your DPS high enough to beat the enrage timer. That's like the core of what raiding in World of Warcraft is. Yeah. SWTOR, same thing. ESO, same thing, etc. Well, not, I wouldn't say ESO, but anyway. And let's say that the total amount of DPS that's needed to beat the enrage timer from the whole team is 100,000. Well, in World of Warcraft, the game is tuned enough so that, the maximum that you could even do, if you had like everything be perfect, have every player be absolutely elite, and squeezing out every amount of DPS that you can, would be like, like 125,000 or something like that. And as you go down and have less and less talented players, you get closer and closer and closer to that 100,000 that you can't meet, because you only have a maximum number of players. Well, with Ashes of Creation, you can just bring 150 people. So then everybody can do crap DPS and you can just beat it. It's like, so that very tight, scripted, you have to go in and you have to hit your rotation perfectly and hit all the mechanics and do all the things to beat the boss. I just don't think that's going to be a thing in this game. And if it is a thing in this game, it's going to be minuscule. It's not what the 20% of raids are going to be instance, they said.
And those raids might be the ones that might have the more rotational. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have like Zergs and stuff like that. I mean, I think world bosses in World of Warcraft have always been Zergs. There's really not much in the sense of like mechanics for those bosses and stuff like that. They're super easy. They're like loot loot pinatas is what they're usually called. So, but I do think, the raiding scene can be pretty cool for Ashes, but it just depends on what they want to do. And
well, it depends. It really depends, because this goes back to what we were talking about all the way back at the very beginning of this, where I can't so raid teams. I'm assuming you've been on a raid team at some point.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Did you guys have did you have a night or two of the week that was
dedicated to it?
Dedicated to it. Okay.
For sure.
What if your node's being sieged? What if it's Wednesday night and you guys at 8:00 on Wednesday night, you go raid. Oh, well, you log in and your node needs
defending
this or that, or there's a caravan that's coming that's bringing crucial materials for you guys to upgrade your node, and it needs to be defended, and you're gonna go off and try to make the sword on your character have little higher numbers instead of defending the caravan. That's like, I really think that as raiders, and this is, I could be wrong, I'm telling you, I could be wrong, it's just my reading of it. As raiders, we are going to have to redefine the way that we play MMOs. We have been conditioned by the World of Warcraft model for a long time to jump on that treadmill.
Yeah.
Kill boss, get better loot, 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 in a big circle.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's what the end game is. We do that because raiding, especially in the World of Warcraft model, is a substitute for actual real end game content. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a substitute for meaningful, impactful content. It's a cheap substitute. And I think people over time have learned that. I have a lot of friends now who are like, why? Why do I kill that boss? So that I can get a little better loot, so I can kill a little harder boss? Like, what's the point of that? Whereas if you do it because everybody is on, and somebody might get a little better sword, and then that sword will help you defend a caravan or defend your node or whatever. That's a whole other thing. And so, just like I said, I really think that raiding in the way that we imagine it, the way that we see it now in the World of Warcraft model, is not going to exist in this game. If not by design, then by result, like just what ends up happening, what people end up caring about, as opposed to caring about getting on the loot treadmill.
So I think, like you were talking about with the game loops, right? So I think Ashes of Creation is going to be truly like an innovative MMO where all of the old models of thinking are going to have to be redone. Yep. And just rethought of, like, because you're right. I mean, because it's not even that. Like, what if a guild like promotes a guild war with your guild, or
go raid tonight?
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, so you have all these different things, or it's like, hey, we have a person that's going to be doing a caravan, and why don't we protect them? Our whole guild gets together and protect them for the caravan, because this is going to be gear for us, like end game gear. If we can get it over there, sell it, get some more mats, and then we can create some more stuff. There's plenty of those interruptible things that are actually just as meaningful as raiding, which I think can really be awesome for players to experience. And again, this is all theoretical. Like, it's not saying we've played it in Alpha 2 in that way, but just imagining those scenarios happening. I think it's going to be, as a raider, I get super excited because it really takes away from the norm of doing, or playing an MMO. Because like you said, we followed this model for so long, it's almost like we're going into that gerbil wheel of the same, when Ashes is like, there is no wheel per se. Like, right. There's so many variables. There is no spoon. There's no spoon. And so it just literally goes into probably multitude of different directions where there is so much content that can be explored in Ashes. Or there's literally, like, we're on a pinnacle of a stage 5 node to be stage 6. So would we rather contribute to that node or go and raid? You know what I'm saying? And it's all of those things that literally, like, we've never done in other games. Like, we don't know.
Right. I'm calling it emergent gameplay. When you log into World of Warcraft every day, you know what you're gonna do. And there's nothing stopping you from doing whatever you want to do. There's no reason, like, the biggest reason you might not do what you want to do is, like, one of your friends says, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to go do a couple of PvP matches. Do you want to come? And you're like, well, yeah, I guess I won't level this character. I'll go do some PvP matches. Where in Ashes of Creation, if it goes the way that it's supposed to, the way that we all think it's going to. When you log in today, your node might have gotten destroyed overnight. It might have gotten de-leveled overnight. There might be a caravan that's really crucial in the area. There might be a PK in the area that's running around and wrecking everybody that lives in your node, and you guys got to all gang up and go find them. Like, there's all kinds of things that are happening that are gonna, you're not gonna log in and just, what you're gonna do today is not gonna be a foregone conclusion. You're not gonna know what gameplay is going to be when you log in today until you log in and find out what's going on in the community, what's going on in your area.
Yeah.
And so I just, that's why I'm working on this video, and I'm trying to get the script right and everything. And that's maybe why I can talk about this quite like on the level that I'm talking about it, because I've been scripting it and thinking about it. I just don't think this game is going to have end game loops as we think of it. It's almost like a branching storyline, like a choose your own adventure. Okay. Did your node get attacked? Yes. Okay. Did you successfully defend it? No. Okay. Well, okay. Now, are you going to rebuild the node, or are you going to go find a new node? Oh, we're going to go find a new node. Okay. Well, do you want it to be science or military? Okay. Well, I want it to be military. And like, it's a choose your own adventure instead of a loop that you just go around and round and round and round senselessly on.
And I do, and I do think if Intrepid really does nail the node system in that model, because like I said, there's so many interdependent systems that go into the node system, that if they really truly just like a 10 out of 10 on the node system, other systems can really like be mediocre, and the whole game would feel amazing, because again, they can implement, re-envision other systems, smaller systems that can go into the node system. I mean, so to kind of bring all this conversation to almost a conclusion, like I asked this to Fane yesterday, and so I'm gonna ask you, like, why do you believe in Intrepid? Steven. Let's say Steven.
No, I believe in
Steven,
because of Steven. So why do I believe in Steven? I can, you know how we all have our skills, our things that we're good at, the things that we're better at than most people, you know, that sort of thing. Everybody kind of has that. I am and I've always been this way. I am like a human character decipherer. Like, I can spend a small amount of time with someone, or just watch them talk or whatever, and I can tell who the good people are versus who are the, you know, kind of more shady people. A lot of times I can tell what part of the country you're from. I can tell what your political leanings are. Like, I can tell a lot of things about people with just very short conversations. It's a weird skill. I've been a football coach for a long time, coaching flag football, and I can watch the kids run around and just like not do drills, like literally just watch the kids run and play and throw and catch, and then put everybody in the position that they should be in. And then my team is like always one of the best teams, usually the best team in the league, and we dominate everybody. And I literally did it by letting them play and then just watching them and putting, like, it's a weird skill. but
I don't think it's a weird skill.
I can tell that Steven is genuine. He has a genuine passion for this. He has been through what we've all been through, the beaten dog syndrome that he talks about so frequently. He wants to solve it. I can tell that he has really sat down and thought about all these different features. It's another thing he mentioned in the MMORPG.com interview, was he basically took features from games that got abused and never solved. The abuse of those things never got solved, and figured out how to solve them. And so he just iterated on existing systems to try to solve the issues. Now, is every single one of his solutions going to work? No. But this is the key thing. I've seen him mention this several times. And there are very few people who are actually capable of doing this, and Steven is one of them.
Yeah.
He has disassociated his ego from the project, his sense of self-worth from the project, or from the systems of the project. So if one of the systems doesn't work, like he spent hours thinking about it, designing it, coming up with it, et cetera, and it doesn't work, he's not going to be like, too bad. That's what I came up with.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, oh crap, that doesn't work for the players. Let me iterate on it some more. Let me find another solution. Let me find another way to do it. And from that perspective, I think that he has the money. He's willing to put it into it. He's willing to keep going until it's done. And he said that repeatedly, that it's going to release, and it's going to release when it's done and ready. And then even once it's released, if there's a feature that doesn't work, that's not getting it done, they will go back and iterate on it, change it. It wouldn't surprise me if they changed that whole cloth, like just made a whole new damn system, throw out the old one, to make it work. And so that's it. That's why I believe in it. I think Steven is he's the perfect person to come along and do exactly what he's trying to do right now.
That's actually very insightful, because I always love their ability to pivot. I mean, and I told you this from Alpha 1, just as a viewer, they literally were like, oh, this whole root motion, combat is not good. In a week, they gave you guys an option to be like, hey, we're going to give you root motion or split body. And it's like, holy crap, like their ability to pivot and to not only listen to the feedback, but to actually implement it fast enough for you guys to give more feedback on what do you like more. Like, that is huge for a developer, because most developers pivot 6 months too late most of the time,
if they pivot at all.
Exactly. So I think that's one huge reason why I can't wait for this game. But so I mean, we talked about your live stream that's going to be going on, and it's going to be at twitch.tv/Xillin.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to be, so if you guys want to hop in, watch with us, because I know I'm going to be there. I'm super stoked for Friday. I think they're going to finally release like a little bit of the content creator or the character creator. I really do.
Right.
So I'm really excited about that. And where else can they find you? Like YouTube, Twitter.
Just YouTube. I don't do Twitter. I really don't do social media.
Okay.
So just YouTube and Twitch. I'm Xillin on both. If you like Ashes of Creation, I talk about it, and if it's not obvious, if you've never seen me talk before, and if it's not obvious today, I'm super passionate about it, and I could talk about it all day long. Like, if I didn't have to get out of here to go watch my daughter's cheerleading at halftime of a basketball game tonight, and if I didn't have to get out of here for that, then I could sit here with Vlhadus and talk for 2 more hours. Like, I could talk about it all day. So if you like talking about Ashes, come on.
Yeah. That's right, guys. And again, Xillin, thank you so much for just having this little one-on-one with me. It's always awesome just talking with you and stuff. But so that's pretty much it, guys. If you like this video, then please give it a like. Like I said, follow Xillin on Twitch TV. Smash that like button. And follow him, of course, on YouTube if you're not already. And again, my name is Vlhadus. This is 1v1, and I will see you on the next one.